Hello, my name is Sunil Kumar and I teach in the Department of Social Policy. And the course that I convene myself is Urbanisation and Social Policy in the Global South. In relation to how I am preparing my teaching is that I am assuming that things may not be back to normal, and hence I'll be recording my lectures. And in relation to small group teaching, I have decided to build on what I have done this year. I introduced art into my teaching of urbanization and social policy in the Global South in the calendar year 2019-2020. And for a long time, I have been thinking about non-textual methods of engaging students in my course. And the idea behind the use of art was to enable my students and to rekindle, if you like, the elements of compassion, understanding, empathy through medium other than text. With support from the Eden Center, who provided each student with a sketchpad, a set of coloring pencils, and later on a set of watercolors. Students were asked during the lectures and the seminars to draw concepts that we had discussed. So for example, if one was to talk about precarity as a concept, it is quite easy to write something down in text and then to move on. But when asked to actually draw an image of what precarity means, students felt that they needed to really engage with the concept and produce from their own imagination what that meant for them. So the emphasis was not really on the quality of the art or what was produced, but the whole process of thinking through a concept and not simply recording it as text, as in form of notes, but to engage with that more directly. And initially, there were some students who were very supportive of the idea and others were not so sure. But as the course progressed, they really felt that the use of a non-textual medium to supplement their textual notes was also important. I must say also, I've been using Padlet for a number of years. And the use of Padlet meant that students could actually post their drawings, as well as I was able to share a lot of other materials such as blogs and podcasts and videos as part of the learning process. So technology for me is more about the mechanisms through which to deliver my pedagogy. The idea of blended learning is not new, and what I have been doing in SP 415 has been blended learning because the lectures are delivered in real time, and so were the seminars. This is the pre-COVID lockdown. But I've utilized Moodle, I've utilized Padlet as vehicles to actually deliver my course. So there has been a kind of mixture of both face-to-face and online work. About 10 years ago, I also introduced an activity called My City. And in this activity, which is voluntary and not assessed, students are encouraged to actually do some background research on a city of their choice, which they maintain for their entire course, to explore some of the main concepts raised in the lecture. And initially, when I started this My City exercise, it was aimed at trying to get a feel for what my students were thinking before they came to the seminar. And this was because some students from some parts of the world remained silent in the seminars. And I did speak with them and asked them what the challenges were. And they told me that essentially, when they were ready to say something, the conversation had moved on. And so the undertaking the My City activity meant that they had given some thought to a couple of key questions before they attended the seminar. And during the seminar, I was able to use their postings, which was done via Moodle, to engage them in the conversation. And I felt that this mechanism was much more inviting because students had given some thought to the points I was raising, rather than being caught on the hoof, so to speak, to respond to a question. For me, the notion of a shift to blended learning is largely to do with how does one deliver limited face-to-face teaching in small seminar groups in a reduced period of time. And therefore, I feel that it's impossible to do what I used to do in a 1.5 hour seminar within, say, 45 minutes for a group of 7 to 8 students. And what I did when lockdown happened is I introduced to the students an exercise called My Just Neighborhood. And the idea was to kind of promote blue skies thinking on what a just neighborhood might be, to incorporate various dimensions of the course, such as migration, poverty, housing, labor markets, basic services such as water and sanitation. And this was a fun activity as well. And it was only later on when there were a lot of discussions about the use of art in dealing with isolation and loneliness during COVID-19 also played a part. And what the students then did was to sketch out a neighborhood using their imagination to address some of these questions. And that was done in week 9 of the course, or maybe 10. And what I've decided to do this year is to bring that exercise right up front to weeks 1 or 2. And the idea would be that a student would work on the My Just Neighborhood project throughout the 10 weeks of the course. And that would act as a backbone for the small group seminar discussions. So while there will be some discussion around the readings, the idea would be the application of the readings, the lessons learned from the My City exercise into the My Just Neighborhood project. And I've also made an assessment change because the course runs with a 100% essay, which the students decide on what to write about. And now that's being reduced to 80% and 20% being allocated to the My Just City neighborhood. So I think the message that I want to get across to others who are working on Curriculum Shift 2020 and the idea of blended learning is that it will require a rethinking of the pedagogy of what the seminars are about. And any attempt at creating a kind of backbone, if you like, to the seminars, which is suitable to small group discussions, but also, more importantly, suitable to the reduced time available, would be something that I would recommend people to take into consideration. The way I have designed the course now for Lent Term 2021 has actually resulted in what I've been working on for 10 to 15 years in terms of the pedagogy of the course to perhaps take shape. So in the future, the assessment of 20% for the in-course My Just Neighborhood project would still be there, but also the manner in which that will form the kind of backbone of the seminar discussions will continue, irrespective of whether the seminars are shorter with 7 to 8 students or return to their normal 1.5 hours with 15 students. And the idea now is that the lecture, which is largely decolonized and is a critique of Anglo-Eurocentric approaches to this subject of urbanization and social policy. That will then give rise to students doing some work on the My City exercise. And the My City exercise would then feed into the Just Neighborhood exercise. And that would be still assessed at 20%. And I must say that it's not just the sketch, but a 750 to 1,000 word supporting statement of the idea in that particular My Just Neighborhood project will continue. So I see COVID-19 as also having made me rethink a little bit how I might improve the pedagogy of the course that I teach.